Hello and welcome back to the Triton LEGO Railway Layout. This is a small update video, but this is a small update in of itself for the shed and signal box stretch that comes after my station. So the focus of the modifications are on the signal box side of things, but there were some things I changed on the shed side of things as well. Mainly just the greenery on the base plate, as well as the footpath is now more onto the shed side of this stretch. But it was still enough for it to be kind of its own video, and it's nice to be able to look at this as well. So despite saying the bulk of the modifications happened here at the signal box area, there still wasn't that much done. The footpath was modified, it was basically all just shifted around, not necessarily modified. The signal box itself nearly got completely redesigned, because I had to make sure it still worked in a realistic sense. So the signal that was previously by the points is now up here, having been corrected on where it should be positioned. The signal box itself is now in a position where it's only just a little bit further backwards by, I don't know, about a dozen studs or so. It's basically at the back of the base plate. But it's still in a position where it can see both lines and it still works in a relatively realistic state. That was kind of the key issue. I want to make sure it has some kind of realism, it has a correct sort of look and feel to it. Otherwise, redesigning the signal box would mean redesigning the shed. And that is not something I'm going to do, because the shed is massive. So as you can see here at the signal box end of things, I have these leaf pieces just covering the base plates. It's a nice and interesting idea of using some larger pieces to cover up the exposed studs, as well as giving it a sort of grass greenery look and feel. It's not too bad. There are some other areas I could probably do with a bit of patching up, but then again, it's not going to be too necessary with where they're going to be positioned. So around here, for example, all of this exposed base plate space, you're not going to really see this, so it's not going to be a priority or even an issue just to have this covered up. And it is over here on this side of the shed segments where I have put the majority of these leaf pieces. Different shapes and different colours make it look quite nice. And it's quite a simple process, but when you look at it for, I don't know, I'd say a certain period of time, I suppose you get used to it. But this is way better than buying a bunch of tiny leaf pieces and getting a bunch of tiles just to create some weird and somewhat interesting look. I suppose people have preferences, but this, in a way, is something I'm actually quite digging. Maybe because it's different. This footpath area is something that I really like, because it's an area where I can get some more minifigures on. And all of these flowers and greenery details, I suppose, are more realistic. It is a random selection of leaves and plants and other plant leafy pieces, just to create this sort of random, I suppose, more realistic detail. It's a mix of a bunch of different shapes and sizes, and I suppose that's what makes this look really appealing in comparison to what I showed off just a moment ago. For the sake of mentioning it, the shed itself, both internal and external, and the surrounding areas remain unchanged. The building itself is no different. The surrounding area isn't any different except for this big old tree over here. Just to try and get some more greenery in, I had some excess pieces like these bushes and these tiny trees. It's something different to look at, and again, it's a different selection of greenery and kind of plants in comparison to what else we've got going on in this area. And that's it for this area of the Triton LEGO Railway layout. This is pretty much set in stone now that the station modification has been finalized. There may always be a time where I come back to this and make a few changes here and there. Maybe to fill in the base plate space just a little bit more, I'm not too sure. But for now, again, I am happy with how this looks. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.